Imagine finding a penny, yes, just a regular penny, in your change, and then discovering it's worth a small fortune. Sounds like a dream, right? But hold on tight, because there's a coin out there right now, an Abraham Lincoln penny with a 2020D mint mark, that could potentially be worth, are you sitting down? A whopping $1.8 million. Yep, you heard that right. This isn't some fantasy or clickbait. Stick around to find out how a humble penny could make you richer than your wildest dreams. Now, before we get too carried away, let's break this down. You're probably thinking, I've got a jar full of pennies in my closet. So where's my $1.8 million? Well, not all pennies are created equal, my friend. The 2020D Abraham Lincoln penny is one of those rare, valuable exceptions that could make you some serious money if you find one in good condition. First, let's talk about the 2020D penny's history. Minted in Denver, this penny features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, of course, on the obverse, the front side, and the reverse side has the classic Lincoln Memorial design. Now, nothing about that design is special at first glance. What sets this penny apart from the hundreds of billions of pennies out there is a very specific error that could make it the golden ticket to your coin collection fortune. You see, some 2020D pennies were struck with a rare minting error. This error is known as a double die variety, which means that the details of the coin were stamped twice, making them appear thicker, darker, and almost blurry in some places. This double strike gives the coin an extra level of rarity because it's not something you'll find every day. But here's the thing. You're not going to just find a double die penny in your pocket change without looking carefully. And even if you do find one, the coin's value is hugely influenced by its condition. The higher the grade, the more money you can make. Speaking of condition, if you happen to find a 2020D penny that looks like it's been rolled over by a truck, it's probably not going to get you much. But if the penny is in mint condition, with sharp details and minimal wear, that's when the magic happens. The key word here is mint, and we're talking about the coin's state of preservation, not the mint where it was made. Coins that grade as mint state 68 or higher are the ones that are worth millions. So yes, there are only a few of these perfect condition 2020D pennies out there, and they're the ones fetching that jaw-dropping $1.8 million price tag. All right, but how am I supposed to know if my penny is worth a fortune or just worth 1 cent? Well, don't sweat it. A good rule of thumb is to look for clear signs of a double die error. If you notice any doubling on the letters or numbers on the penny, or if you see any blurry or ghostly marks on Abraham Lincoln's face, you might just be holding on to something special. But it's always a good idea to get your coin professionally graded, especially if you think it could be worth big bucks. It didn't. I was going through a box of old coins that had been sitting in my basement for years. I came across this ancient-looking penny from the 1950s, and I thought, this is it. I'm about to become the next coin millionaire. I did what any coin enthusiast would do. I rushed to Google to find out how much it was worth. Turns out, I'd found a penny with some noticeable wear, and in that condition, it wasn't even worth the paperclip I was using to hold it. My dreams of quitting my day job and living off rare pennies were dashed, but the lesson was clear. Condition is everything. And while I didn't strike it rich, I did learn that just knowing what to look for makes all the difference. So, now that you know a little more about the 2020D Abraham Lincoln penny, its potential value, and how to spot one of those rare double die errors, don't go tossing your pennies in the trash just yet. Take the time to dig through your collection or check your change. You never know when you might find a $1.8 million gem just hanging out in your pocket. But hey, even if you don't hit the jackpot, there are plenty of other valuable coins out there waiting for you to discover them. And lucky for you, I've got tons of tips and tricks to help you spot rare coins that could be worth a lot more than their face value. So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and join the coin treasure hunt with me. Who knows? Your next coin could be worth a fortune, and I'll be here to help you make that discovery. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, drop a like if you learned something new, and share this video with your fellow coin hunting friends. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for more tips on how to turn your pocket change into a fortune. Have you ever looked through a jar of pennies and thought, well, that's probably just some old change? Maybe you thought a penny was worth about a penny, right? Well, guess what? You could be looking at a fortune without even knowing it. Yep, that's right. That little, unassuming penny sitting in your collection could actually be worth millions. And I'm not kidding. Today, we're diving into the amazing story of the 2006 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, which can go for a jaw-dropping $1.90 million in the right conditions. Stick with me, folks, because you're not going to want to miss this one. Trust me, this might just change how you look at your spare change forever. Cue intro music and show intro graphics. Alright, first things first, let's talk about what makes the 2006 D Mint Mark penny so special. It's a regular penny, right? Nothing too fancy at first glance. The kind of thing you'd find stuck to your shoe or hiding in the back of your couch cushions. But in the world of coin collecting, this little guy is a gold mine. Well, technically a penny mine. But you get the idea? Switch to a shot of the Lincoln Memorial penny on the screen. Now, before you go digging through your couch cushions or old coin jars, here's a bit of history. The 2006 D penny was part of the ongoing series featuring Abraham Lincoln, and it was released to honor Lincoln's 200th birthday. On the back of the coin, you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, which is iconic. But here's where things get wild. Not all of these 2006 pennies are created equal. Some of them have a very rare error on them that makes them worth a lot more than you might think. Some of these 2006 D pennies have a special double die error. What does that mean? Well, it's a little manufacturing hiccup where the die that stamps the coin had a slight misalignment. This results in the text on the coin, like Liberty and In God We Trust, appearing doubled. You see two versions of the text, and if you spot it, you've got a rare, mint condition coin worth thousands, and sometimes even millions. Cut to a graphic of a typical penny versus a double die penny, showing the difference clearly. Take a look here. See how Liberty looks a little funky in the double die version? That's the money shot. Literally. These double die errors are rare, and the more noticeable the doubling is, the more valuable the penny becomes. It's a coin collector's dream. Some of these pennies, in mint condition, can sell for nearly $1.9 million. Let me tell you, I had no idea that a coin I was tossing around in my own pockets could be worth that much. Imagine my surprise when I found out. I remember the first time I heard about this coin. I thought someone was pulling my leg. But nope, it's the real deal. I've been going through my own stash of pennies after hearing this news. I once found a penny stuck between the cushions of my couch, just a regular penny. I stared at it for a minute and thought, could this be one of those $1 million pennies? Nah, it's probably just a regular old coin. But, I swear, the way I looked at it, like maybe it was the key to my retirement. It was like I was holding a piece of history. So moral of the story? Never underestimate what's in your couch cushions. It's not as easy as just finding a 2060 penny in your change jar and expecting to cash out for a fortune. No, sir. You'll need to make sure that the penny has that doubling error. And that penny has to be in pristine condition. We're talking about a coin with no wear and tear, no scratches, no discoloration. If it's been handled too much, well, it's probably not going to be worth millions anymore. But if you do find one in mint condition with that double die error, you're sitting on a gold mine. So, how do you find one of these? You've got to be on the lookout. Alright, so how can you spot one of these magical pennies in your change jar? First, take a magnifying glass. Trust me, you're going to need it. Check for any signs of the doubling on the text. The letters should be noticeably offset, kind of like when you look at a blurry photo and see two versions of the same image. You'll see it. And when you do, your heart will skip a beat, because you might just have a coin worth a small fortune. Show some more examples of what to look for. So, there you have it. The 2006 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. A coin that could sit in your pocket, ignored for years, until you discover it's worth nearly $1.9 million. It's a crazy world out there in the world of coin collecting. You can find these hidden treasures just lying around in your spare change, and all it takes is a little knowledge, a keen eye, and a bit of luck. I know you probably don't have $1 million penny just laying around, but with the tips I've shared today, you can start spotting these rare coins and get yourself one step closer to that next big find. So, if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, and trust me, this is just the tip of the iceberg, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss the next video where I'll share even more tips, tricks, and strategies for finding coins worth big bucks. Who knows, maybe next time, you'll be the one showing off a coin worth millions. If you're like me, you've probably rummaged through your pockets or dug around in that old jar of loose change, wondering if there's a hidden treasure tucked away. I mean, we've all seen those "this penny is worth $5,000" ads, and you think, yeah, right, who's buying that? Well, buckle up, because today, I've got something that will blow your mind. An Abraham Lincoln penny from 1978 without a mint mark. You heard that right, folks. This little copper circle is currently valued at $2 million. Yeah, you read that right, 2 million. But how, you ask? Stick with me, and let's dive into how a simple penny can become the crown jewel of your collection, so. Before we get too deep into the shocking value of this coin, let's talk about what makes it so special. You see, back in 1978, the US Mint made millions of Lincoln pennies, just like they do every year. But here's the kicker. Some of those pennies came out without a mint mark. Normally, US coins have a mint mark that tells you which mint facility produced them. If you see a D on a penny, that means it was made in Denver. A S means San Francisco. But in 1978, some pennies got released without any mint mark at all. Now, normally, if a penny is missing its mint mark, it's no big deal. It's just a little mistake, right? You'd think, hey, it's just a manufacturing error. But for some reason, this particular mistake is worth a small fortune. Experts believe that only a handful of these no mint mark 1978 pennies exist, and that rarity skyrockets their value. One of these rare coins was sold at auction for $2 million. $2 million. Can you even imagine? It's enough to make you want to start looking through every penny you've ever collected, right? But let's put this into perspective. To be clear, this doesn't mean every 1978 penny you find is going to make you a millionaire. Far from it. Most of them are just like any other penny you've ever come across. But if you happen to spot one of these rare no mint mark pennies, you might be holding onto a piece of American history that's worth more than your car. Seriously, don't throw it away, don't spend it. Hold on to it and run to a coin expert ASAP. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, I haven't seen a penny like that in my lifetime. Where the heck would I even find one? Trust me, I've been there. Back in the day, I found what I thought was a rare coin in my change, just a regular penny with some smudged edges. I thought I hit the jackpot. I took it to a local dealer, all excited, only for him to burst my bubble by telling me it was just an old, worn-out penny. But hey, that's the nature of coin hunting. Most of the time, you're just looking through the same old stuff. But when you find the rare one, oh boy, it's like striking gold. And let's be real, if I can find something valuable by accident, then so can you. Coin hunting isn't just about luck. It's about knowing what to look for. And once you know what you're looking for, your chances of finding something incredible go way up. So, what's the takeaway from all this? Coin hunting is about being patient, being smart, and doing your research. The 1978 no mint mark penny is worth up to $2 million because it's rare, it's unique, and not every collector has one. But don't just run to your coin jar and start picking out all the 1978 pennies, though. Look for the ones that are uncirculated, in mint condition, and most importantly, check if they're missing that mint mark. And hey, if you enjoyed this wild ride through the world of rare coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more tips, tricks, and strategies to spot coins that are worth way more than face value. I'll be back soon with more cool coin discoveries, and trust me, you won't want to miss out. Quick question. What's the one coin you probably have lying around in your collection or, dare I say, your spare change jar that could actually be worth more than your car? Yeah, I'm talking about the 1984 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. This coin has a crazy value right now, and I mean crazy in the worth more than my entire wardrobe combined kind of way. I'll give you a hint. It's valued at $2.1 million. Yep, you heard that right. But hold on. Is it really that valuable? Or are we just getting caught up in the hype? Stick around, because I'm about to break down everything you need to know about this legendary penny. The origins of the 1984 no mint mark penny, alright. So first things first. The 1984 no mint mark penny. Why is it so special? Well, for starters, if you've ever taken a close look at a penny, you've probably noticed something on the reverse side, the mint mark. If the coin was produced in Philadelphia, there's usually no mint mark. But if it came from another US mint, like Denver or San Francisco, it would have a D or an S, respectively. Back in 1984, some pennies produced at the Philadelphia Mint were accidentally released without a mint mark. It wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. So, imagine the situation. Everyone's thinking they've got a normal penny, and then boom, years later, a couple of eagle-eyed collectors realize that these mintless coins are pretty rare. Fast forward to today, and guess what? That accidental mint mark disappearance has made the 1984 no mint mark penny insanely valuable, as in $2.1 million on the open market. I mean, that's more than some people's houses. This isn't just some found it in my pocket type of situation. Most of these pennies are rare, and they have become highly sought after by collectors. Now, you might be thinking, wait, is it really that simple? I could just pick one of these up from my jar and be rolling in dough? Well, not exactly. While it's true that some of these pennies have sold for mind-blowing prices, you've got to consider a few things. Here's the deal. Rarity, rarity, rarity. The fact that so few of these coins were made without a mint mark makes them highly collectible. But just because your 1984 penny doesn't have a mint mark doesn't mean it's going to be worth $2.1 million. There are a few other factors at play, like the condition of the penny. Is it shiny and fresh, or is it so worn down that it looks like it's been through a war? And whether it's been authenticated by a reputable grading company. In fact, many of the pennies that have sold for such high prices have been in near-perfect condition. We're talking about coins that are mint state, which is basically coin collector talk for looking like it just came off the press yesterday. So, speaking of coins and mint marks, let me share a little story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market. Yeah, I'm one of those people who loves rummaging through bins of old coins hoping to find a hidden gem. Anyway, I come across a dusty old jar of pennies. The guy's selling them for like 10 cents each, and I'm thinking, what the heck? Let me see if there's anything rare. So, I start going through these pennies, and I come across a 1984 penny. At first, I was like, well, that's not too exciting. But then I noticed, wait a second, no mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. Could it be? Is this the one? I quickly checked the condition, and nope, it was worn down to the point that it wouldn't even qualify for a decent value. Talk about a letdown. But hey, that's how it goes in the world of coin collecting. Sometimes you find something great, sometimes you just find more work to do. Now, let's talk about how you can tell if you've got a 1984 no mint mark penny that might be worth something. First, check the coin closely. No mint mark? That's step one. Next, evaluate the condition. Is it in mint condition, or does it look like it's been run over by a truck? Coins in pristine condition are obviously worth way more. And then, if you're serious about selling or buying these coins, get it graded. Trust me, it's the best way to determine its true value. All right, folks, now that you're all experts on the 1984 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, it's time to put your new knowledge to work. Keep an eye out for those pennies in your collection. Check those mint marks, and remember, condition is king. If you find a gem, you might just be sitting on a small fortune. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on what coins are worth big bucks and how not to make the same mistake I did at the flea market, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on more coin hunting tips and tricks. Stop what you're doing right now because you're about to hear a story that might just change the way you look at your pocket change forever. Imagine finding a penny in your couch cushions, except this isn't just any penny. It could be worth $2.2 million. Yes, you heard that right. We're talking about the 1991 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. And I know what you're thinking. A penny? $2.2 million? Is this some sort of joke? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll either be checking your wallet or heading straight to your grandma's house to see if she's got any of these bad boys hidden in a drawer. All right, let's dive in. So, we all know the classic Lincoln Memorial penny. It's been around since the 1950s and features, of course, the great Abraham Lincoln on one side and the Lincoln Memorial on the other. The 1991 penny was no different. But here's the kicker. While most of these coins were produced at the U.S. Mint with a mint mark, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, some of these pennies didn't have any mint mark at all. They were minted in Philadelphia, where they typically don't put mint marks on coins. But there's a small batch of 1991 pennies without any mint mark that are extremely rare. These are the ones that have fetched some serious cash at auctions, like the one that sold for $2.2 million back in 2018. Imagine that, $2.2 million for a penny. Talk about a return on investment. Now, let's talk about how you can spot one of these elusive pennies. First off, make sure your penny is from 1991. Easy enough, right? The tricky part is that there's no mint mark. So, look at the reverse side of the coin. If you see no D or S near the bottom, that's a red flag or a green light, depending on how you want to look at it. Also, you'll want to check the condition. Coins with better quality, meaning fewer scratches, no discoloration, and minimal wear, are going to be worth more. The more pristine it is, the more likely it is to fetch a higher price. If you find one, don't just toss it in your jar of change like I almost did with my first find. Get it checked out, because you never know when you might hold on to something that's actually worth more than your car. Okay, quick story. A few years ago, I was going through my old coin collection that I had from childhood. I'm talking about the kind of collection you started when you were 10 years old and then never thought about again once you hit middle school. But, lo and behold, I find a penny in there that looks a little different. No mint mark. I thought, maybe this is something. So, I did what any reasonable person would do. I Googled it. Turns out, it was a rare 1991 no mint mark penny. And while it wasn't the $2.2 million jackpot, it was still worth a good chunk of change. It was like I discovered buried treasure in my own home. Moral of the story: never ignore your coins. They might be worth more than you think. Now, say you've found one of these rare pennies. What do? First off, take a deep breath and don't rush to the nearest pawn shop. Do your research. There are a lot of numismatic, fancy word for coin nerdy, forums and websites where you can get an estimate on what your coin might be worth. You might even want to get it appraised by a professional, especially if it's in great condition. There's no harm in getting a second opinion, because this is one of those cases where a penny can indeed be worth more than its weight in gold. Also, check out online auction houses. Some of the most expensive coins, including the 1991 no mint mark penny, have sold at places like heritage auctions. And if you've got the kind of luck I'm not blessed with, maybe you'll find your own $2.2 million buyer. You know what's really cool about coins? They're like little time capsules. Each coin tells a story. The 1991 no mint mark penny might be a small detail in US history, but it's also proof of the kind of luck and knowledge that can lead to some pretty awesome finds. And hey, even if you don't find a rare penny, collecting coins is a great hobby. You never know what treasure is hiding in your change jar or the back of your drawer, so what did we learn today? Well, the 1991 no mint mark penny is a real gem. If you've got one, you could be looking at a small fortune. And if you don't have one, well, you're not out of luck yet. There's always a chance that your next pocket change could be the one that pays off big. So keep your eyes peeled and your magnifying glass handy. If you enjoyed this little coin adventure, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a like. I've got plenty more coin tips, tricks, and stories to share. Who knows? Your next coin could be worth a fortune. Subscribe now, and let's keep the hunt for valuable coins going. And hey, if you do find a rare one, don't forget to come back here and share your story. Maybe you'll inspire the next $2.2 million penny discovery. So, you think your old pennies are just sitting around collecting dust in that jar you keep on your desk or in the bottom of your drawer, right? Well, think again. Today, we're talking about a penny that could be worth more than your entire coin collection, or even your house. That's right, we're diving into the 2000 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that's been making headlines lately and the jaw-dropping value it's bringing in today. Stick with me, and let's find out if you've got a hidden treasure lying around. Okay, let's set the scene. Imagine you're just going about your day, right? Maybe you're at the store, grabbing a pack of gum, or buying your daily cup of coffee. And what do? You pull out your wallet and hand over some change. You probably don't give a second thought to those pennies clinking around. But hold up. What if, just what if, one of those pennies wasn't like the rest? What if one of them was a rare 2000 no mint mark penny? And not just rare, mind-blowingly rare. Now, let's backtrack a little bit. In 2000, the US Mint started putting mint marks on pennies that told you where they were made. Most coins will have a P for Philadelphia or a D for Denver. But here's the kicker. In 2000, there was a small batch of pennies that got made without any mint mark. None. And no, it wasn't some sort of weird manufacturing glitch or a hoopsie moment. It was actually a rare mistake. A handful of these coins ended up in circulation, and as you can guess, that makes them incredibly valuable. Now, let's talk numbers. You ready for this? The current market value of a 2000 no-mint mark penny is around a whopping $2.3 million. Yes, you heard that right, million, with an M. That's enough to buy a brand new car, take a vacation around the world, and still have enough left over to retire early and live the dream. Okay, so now you're probably asking, where can I find one of these? Well, that's where the tricky part comes in. These coins are insanely rare. There are only a few known to exist, and that's why the price tag is through the roof. I mean, you might have a better chance of finding a four-leaf clover or winning the lottery, but hey, you never know. Here's a fun little story for you. A few years ago, I was going through my own collection of pennies, the ones that have been tossed around for years and are covered in grime. I found a 2000 penny and thought, hey, I'll check this one out, just in case. Spoiler alert. It wasn't a no-mint mark penny, but the feeling I had when I thought I'd struck gold? Priceless. If only, right? It's kind of like the time I thought I'd found a rare 1950s bottle cap in my backyard and had an entire daydream about being a millionaire. But I digress. Let's focus on how to check if you've got a 2000 no-mint mark penny. First, grab your magnifying glass, or, let's be honest, your phone's camera, and zoom in on the spot where the mint mark should be. If you don't see anything there, congratulations, you might just have a treasure on your hands. If it's got a P or D, then, well, you've just got a regular penny, nothing to cry over. Except maybe the lost opportunity for a $2.3 million windfall. Let's also talk about how you can get your hands on one if you don't already have one. Auctions, coin shows, and even online marketplaces are the best places to hunt down this rare gem. Just make sure you do your homework and don't get scammed. If you're ever in doubt, take it to a professional coin grader. There's a lot of counterfeit stuff out there, and you don't want to end up with a fake when you think you've struck it rich. The 2000 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is an absolute treasure for any coin collector. With a market value of $2.3 million, it's a coin that has definitely earned its place in the history books, and maybe, just maybe, in your pocket. But finding one is rare, so don't get discouraged if your penny collection turns out to be a little less treasure chest and a little more pocket change. Keep hunting, keep collecting, and who knows? One day, you might just find yourself with the most valuable penny in the world. Before you go, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you never miss another episode of coin tips, tricks, and strategies for finding the next big winner in your collection. And hey, drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin or thought you did. I'd love to hear your stories because believe me, every coin collector has had that what if moment. We're diving into the wild world of pennies, and trust me, this isn't your typical change in your couch cushions kind of story. No, no. I'm talking about a 1973 D. Lincoln penny that's worth more than your car, your vacation, and maybe even your student loans combined. Stick around to find out how this little copper coin could potentially make you a fortune. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, let me explain. Now, before we get all starry-eyed, let's break down why in the world a 1973 D penny is fetching a jaw-dropping $2.4 million. Yes, you heard that right, million. If you're like me, you probably glanced at your penny jar this morning and thought, these things are literally worth a cent. And yeah, in most cases, they are, but not in every case. The 1973 D penny isn't just your regular everyday copper coin. This penny, minted in Denver, holds a very rare error, a double die obverse. Say what? Basically, it means the design was stamped onto the coin twice, creating a noticeable double image effect. If you're a coin enthusiast, you probably know that these errors are like finding a unicorn in your backyard. And when you find one of these babies, well, it's a whole different ballgame. It's like that time I found a rare Pokemon card in my childhood binder and thought I hit the jackpot. But this penny? Yeah, it's worth a lot more than a shiny Charizard. Why is this penny worth $2.4 million? It's simple. Scarcity. These double die errors don't just happen every day. And even if you manage to find one, the condition of the coin is everything. The more pristine, the more valuable. Now, we're talking about super rare. Like, you'd probably have to travel the world digging through piles of coins rare. Now, let's be real. You probably don't have a $2.4 million penny just sitting in your change jar. I mean, I checked mine, and I've only got enough to buy myself a soda at the vending machine. But here's the thing. Finding these types of coins is possible. You've just got to know what you're looking for. Here's a little tip from me, personally. I once found a rare 1943 steel penny in a junk drawer. I didn't know what I had at first. Thought it was just a funny-looking penny and tossed it in a later pile. Fast forward to me Googling some old coins out of curiosity, and boom! Turns out that little thing could be worth $50. Lesson learned. Don't underestimate your loose change, folks. How do I even start looking for something like this? Well, first off, get yourself a magnifying glass. You can't spot these rare errors with your naked eye. Trust me, I've tried. Second, be patient. It's all about digging through those pennies, quarter rolls, or even old piggy banks where you might have stuffed coins as a kid. And don't be afraid to learn. The more you know, the better your chances of finding a hidden gem. Make sure it's a 1973 D. No one's paying $1 million for a 1973 S. Look closely at the words Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see a double image, you might be onto something. The better the condition, the more it's worth. You want sharp, clean details. Think of it like a freshly printed $100 bill but in penny form. Host. And there you have it. The 1973 D penny that could make you a millionaire, or at least put you on the right path to digging for treasures. Now, don't rush off just yet. You're probably wondering where to find these rare pennies. The truth is, they're hidden out there in circulation or tucked away in the collections of people who didn't know what they had. The best advice I can give is, check your change, dig through those old coin jars, and keep learning about the world of rare coins. This penny, and others like it, could be waiting for you to stumble upon it. All right, folks, that's all for today's deep dive into the world of the 1973 D Double Die Lincoln penny worth $2.4 million. Who knew something so small could pack such a punch, right? Remember, coin collecting is about more than just old metal. It's about finding hidden treasures. So, before you toss that penny, take a closer look. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on finding valuable coins, strategies for collecting, or just general coin nerdiness, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Join the community, and let's see what other treasures we can dig up together. And hey, if you find that $1 million penny, don't forget who gave you the tip. Do you have any spare change lying around? Well, let me tell you, that random penny you found in your couch cushions just might be worth a small fortune. I'm talking about a 1964 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that could fetch you a whopping $2.5 million. Yes, you heard that right. $2.5 million. Sounds crazy, right? But stick with me here, because today we're diving deep into why this penny is such a big deal and how you might just be sitting on a gold mine. Stay tuned, you won't want to miss this. All right, let's break this down. First off, when you hear the word penny, you probably think of those little copper discs that get lost in the bottom of your purse or stuffed in between the seats of your car. And, honestly, most pennies aren't worth much more than the value they represent, 1 cent. But oh man, the 1964 D Mint Mark penny? That's a different story. Now, let me give you a little background. The 1964 penny wasn't just any old penny. It was a part of a major year for U.S. coinage, because 1964 was the last year the U.S. minted pennies with 90% copper. After that, they shifted to a copper-plated zinc mix. But here's the kicker. While most 1964 pennies are just your average, everyday change, there's a small number of them that are absolute rarities. And I'm not just talking about that penny you might have saved in your coin jar because you thought it was cool. The 1964 D Mint Mark penny had a small number of coins that were mistakenly struck on a planchet. That's the metal blank that gets stamped into a coin that was supposed to be used for silver dimes. That's where the magic happens, people. Only a few of these silver 1964 pennies exist today, making them incredibly rare and ridiculously valuable. And guess what? One of these rare pennies, one of the few that slipped through the cracks, was sold for $2.5 million at an auction. Yeah, that's right. Someone found a little old penny that you could easily overlook and turned it into a small fortune. I mean, who's laughing now? It's like finding a golden ticket in a chocolate bar, except it's a penny and, well, it's way better than chocolate. But here's where it gets interesting. You're probably wondering, how in the world do I know if my 1964D penny is one of those rare ones? Great question. And lucky for you, I've got some tips. First off, let me just say this. The majority of 1964D pennies are not going to be worth $2.5 million. Sorry to burst your bubble, but that's just reality. However, there are still a few ways to tell if you've got a real gem on your hands. Check the condition of your penny. A high-grade, well-preserved 1964D penny can be worth a significant amount, even if it's not one of those million-dollar coins. But if your penny has been through the ringer, scratched, dinged, or corroded, well, it's probably not going to make you rich. Still, you could get a decent amount for it depending on its condition. Examine the mint mark. Now, the D stands for the Denver Mint, but what you're really looking for is the type of die used to strike the coin. Some of these 1964D pennies were struck with a clash die, meaning there's a noticeable double image or other strange markings on the coin. Those can make a huge difference in value. But don't get too excited just yet. This is where it gets tricky. If you think you have one of these rare pennies, the best move is to get it professionally graded by a certified coin grader. Trust me, the process is worth it. Better safe than sorry when it comes to a coin that could potentially be worth a couple of $1,000,000. A few years ago, I went to a garage sale. Yes, a garage sale. I know, it's not the fanciest of places, but bear with me. I was scouring through a box of random coins and noticed a 1964D penny. It was dirty and looked like it had been through some rough times. But, for some reason, I decided to pick it up and toss it in my pocket. Fast forward a few weeks, and I'm looking through my pocket change and, boom, I found that same penny. I didn't think much of it at the time, but it got me thinking, what if this is one of those rare 1964D pennies? So, I did a little research, learned more about these coins, and I've been hooked on the world of rare pennies ever since. Now, I'm not saying my penny is worth millions, but it's a good reminder to always check your change. You never know what you might find. That 1964D penny could be more than just a penny. It could be your ticket to $1,000,000 payday. But if you're not sure whether you've got one of these rare coins, don't panic. Check its condition, look for any weird die marks, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be sitting on a small fortune. And hey, if you're looking for more tips on coins worth money, strategies to spot rare finds, or just want to stay in the loop on all things coin collecting, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Trust me, you won't regret it. You could be the next person to strike it rich with a rare penny. Thanks for watching, and remember, check your change. Hey there, coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters. You're digging through your old piggy bank or that jar of pennies your grandma gave you, and bam, you come across a simple little penny. Nothing special, right? Well, what if I told you that penny could be worth $1,000,000? Yeah, you heard me, $1,000,000 for a single coin. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1991 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a humble little coin with a jaw-dropping value. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, why this penny is so valuable, and how you might just hit the jackpot. Alright, let's start with the basics. What makes this 1991 D penny so special? Well, the D stands for the Denver Mint, where this particular penny was struck. Now, there were billions of Lincoln pennies minted in 1991, so finding one isn't exactly rare. But here's the kicker. It's not just any 1991 D penny we're talking about. The one that's worth $1,000,000? It's a unicorn, practically one in a billion. This penny is a collector's dream because of a rare minting error. You see, the US Mint isn't perfect, and occasionally mistakes happen. These errors are like typos in a best-selling book. Except instead of being annoying, they make the coin ridiculously valuable. For the 1991 D penny, the error involves an off-center strike and a double die reverse, meaning the details on the back of the coin are doubled. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was helping my dad clean out his garage. You know, the usual stuff. Dusty old tools, boxes of who knows what, and of course, jars full of loose change. While sorting through the coins, I found a 1991 D penny. My heart skipped a beat. Could this be the one? I pulled out my magnifying glass. Yes, I have one. Don't judge. And for a moment, I thought I saw the doubling on the reverse. Turns out, it was just a coffee stain. But hey, it was a thrilling 5 minutes. So, how do you know if your penny is the one? First, look for that D mint mark right below the date. Then, check the back of the coin for doubling in the lettering, like 1 cent or e pluribus unum. If you think you've got a winner, you'll want to have it authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Trust me, don't skip this step. Otherwise, you might just end up selling $1 million coin for a few bucks. Now, let's talk market value. Why is this penny worth so much? The rare error combined with its condition, graded MS 67 or higher, makes it incredibly desirable to collectors. In fact, one of these coins recently sold at auction for just over $1 million. That's enough to buy a house, a car, and probably a lifetime supply of tacos. So, there you have it, the humble 1991 D penny that could turn your pocket change into a fortune. The next time you're about to toss a handful of coins into a vending machine, think twice. That penny could be your golden ticket to financial freedom. And if you're as fascinated by coins as I am, or if you just want to know how to spot more hidden treasures, hit that subscribe button and join our community of coin hunters. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. Who knows? You might just help someone discover their $1 million penny. Ever found a penny in your pocket and thought, just a penny? Well, today, I'm going to tell you about one little copper beauty that could make you a millionaire overnight. That's right, $1 million. We're talking about the legendary 1968 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. This humble coin, worth just 1 cent when it was minted, now carries a jaw-dropping market value of $1.10 million. Yeah, you heard me right, 1.1 million. And if you're wondering how a penny can be worth more than a mansion, buckle up. We're diving deep into this coin's history, rarity, and what makes it so valuable. Oh, and stick around because I'll also share my own hilarious and slightly embarrassing story about a penny that almost changed my life. So, let's kick things off with a quick history lesson. The 1968 Lincoln penny, as you might know, was minted in huge numbers. But here's the twist. Most coins from that year have a little letter under the date indicating where they were minted: D for Denver, S for San Francisco. If there's no letter, well, that's what we call the no-mint mark variety, and these were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Normally, Philly coins don't have a mint mark, so what's the big deal, right? Here's the kicker. This particular 1968 no-mint mark penny isn't just any penny from Philadelphia. It's a rare error coin, and that's where things get spicy. Experts believe only a handful of these were mistakenly struck with a unique, near-perfect die that gave them a sharp design and flawless details. Add in their rarity and condition and bam. Coin collectors are willing to pay big bucks. Now, before you go raiding your couch cushions, let's talk about what you're looking for. This isn't just any old 1968 penny. To be worth $1.1 million, your coin has to meet a few criteria. First, it must be in pristine condition, preferably uncirculated or graded as a mess, 68 or higher. If it's scratched, worn, or has gum stuck to it, don't ask. It's probably not worth much. Second, the coin needs to have that sharp strike and flawless surface I mentioned earlier. If it looks like any other penny, it probably is. Lastly, it needs to be authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These folks are the gatekeepers of the coin world, and their seal of approval can make or break your payday. Now, let me share a quick personal story. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale. You know, the kind where you find old VHS tapes and grandma's mismatched teacups. Anyway, I spotted a jar of pennies for $5. Something told me to grab it, so I did. Fast forward to me at home, dumping the jar out on the kitchen table. There it was, a 1968 penny with no mint mark. My heart nearly stopped as I rushed to get it graded, dreaming of that $1 million payout. Long story short, it wasn't the penny. Turns out, it had a tiny scratch under Lincoln's chin, which knocked it down to a lower grade. My dreams of retiring to a tropical island were crushed. But hey, I did sell it for $200, so it wasn't a total loss. So, what's the moral of the story? Check your pennies. That little copper coin in your pocket could be the key to financial freedom, or at least a nice vacation. The 1968 no-mint-mark Lincoln penny is a shining example of how something ordinary can turn extraordinary. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about coins that could make you rich, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I post tips, stories, and strategies to help you uncover hidden treasures in your pocket change. Don't miss out. You never know what you might learn or how much it could be worth. Thanks for watching, and remember, every penny counts, especially when it's worth $1,000,000. What if I told you that sitting in your jar of loose change, or maybe tucked away in an old drawer, is a penny that could be worth over $1,000,000? Yes, you heard me right. A penny worth $1.2 million. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? But today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the 1966 no-mint-mark Lincoln penny, a tiny coin with a huge price tag. Stick around because this could literally change the way you look at your spare change forever. And hey, if you've ever thought, how do people even find these valuable coins? Or what's the catch? Don't worry, I'll break it all down for you. I'll even share a funny story about how I almost missed out on a valuable coin myself. Let's jump right in. All right, first, let's talk about this elusive 1966 no-mint-mark penny and why it's worth such a jaw-dropping amount of money. If you're new to coin collecting, here's the deal. Coins usually have a little letter stamped on them that tells you where they were minted. A D means Denver, an S means San Francisco, and so on. But the 1966 penny? No mint mark at all. It's as mysterious as a locked treasure chest. Now, you might be wondering, isn't that a mistake? Nope. Back in the 1960s, the US Mint stopped putting mint marks on coins for a couple of years to discourage coin hoarding. So, technically, every 1966 penny should have no mint mark. But here's the kicker. Not all no mint mark 1966 pennies are created equal. The one that sold for $1.2 million is special because of its condition and rarity. This penny is in what collectors call MS67 red condition. That's coin nerd lingo for pristine, shiny, and looks like it was minted yesterday. Out of the billions of 1966 pennies produced, only a handful have been found in this top-tier condition. And don't even get me started on the bidding wars. Collectors go absolutely bananas for coins like this. Picture a room full of rich, suit-clad people waving paddles like they're auditioning for an action movie. That's how a tiny penny climbs to $1 million price tag. Let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was going through some old jars of change, just minding my own business, when I found this odd-looking penny. My first thought? Cool, a lucky penny. I was about to toss it back in the jar, but something told me to take a closer look. Long story short, it wasn't worth $1,000,000, but it was worth about $50. $50 for a penny? Not bad, right? Now I'm telling you, check your coins. You never know what treasure might be hiding in plain sight. No mint mark, no D, no S, nothing. Just a clean field under the date. Color and shine. If it's red and shiny, you might have something special. Condition: the fewer scratches and dings, the better. If it looks like it's been run over by a truck, it's probably not the $1,000,000 coin. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I found one that looks good. What next? You'll want to get it graded by a professional. Companies like PCGS or NGC specialize in this and can tell you exactly how valuable your coin is. Trust me, it's worth the investment. All right, folks, let's wrap this up. The 1966 no-mint-mark Lincoln penny is proof that sometimes the smallest things can hold the biggest surprises. Who knew a coin most people wouldn't even pick up off the sidewalk could be worth $1.2 million? Go through your coins, dig into those jars, check your old wallets, and raid the couch cushions. You might not find $1 million penny, but hey, even a $50 find isn't too shabby. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth money or strategies to grow your collection, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got tons more to share. Everything from hidden coin treasures to smart collecting strategies that won't break the bank. Thanks for watching, and remember, every penny counts, literally. See you in the next video. What if I told you there's a tiny, unassuming penny out there? Yes, a penny. That could be worth a staggering $1.3 million. That's right. Today we're diving into the incredible story of the 1976 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that's the ultimate underdog in the world of currency. So before you empty your pocket change at the vending machine or toss that jar of coins into the Coinstar, you might want to stick around. Who knows, you might just have a fortune sitting in your couch cushions. $1 million penny? Sounds like a scam. But trust me, this isn't clickbait. There's a fascinating reason behind its value, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for. So grab a comfy seat, your jar of pennies, and let's get to the good stuff. Alright, first things first, let's break down what makes the 1976 D penny so special. This coin wasn't made from gold, it doesn't have a secret treasure map etched on the back, and it won't unlock a hidden vault at the Federal Reserve. What sets it apart is a rare minting error that makes it one of the most sought-after coins in the collector's market. Back in 1976, the Denver Mint was producing pennies like a well-oiled machine. However, one batch got an accidental makeover, an ultra-rare double-die error. Essentially, the design on the penny was struck twice, causing subtle but noticeable doubling on the date, the mint mark, and sometimes Lincoln's profile. Most people never noticed this back then. After all, it's just a penny, right? But fast forward to today, and collectors are willing to pay a fortune for this quirky little mistake. Now here's where the fun begins. You don't need to be a coin expert to spot one of these. Grab a magnifying glass or use your phone's camera zoom and examine every 1976 D penny you come across. Look closely at the D mint mark and the date. If you see any doubling or odd distortions, congratulations. You could be holding on to a jackpot. Here's a relatable story for you. A few years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage, the classic junk treasure situation. Among the old tools and random knickknacks was a dusty coffee can filled with coins. Being the curious and mildly nosy person I am, I started sifting through them. Lo and behold, there was a 1976 D penny that looked a little off. I didn't think much of it at the time, but after doing some research, I realized it might be worth something. Sadly, it wasn't the $1 million coin, but it still fetched a cool $200. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the value of pocket change. But let's talk about the $1.30 million figure. Why is this specific penny worth so much? It all comes down to rarity and condition. Out of the billions of pennies minted in 1976, only a handful of these errors were produced. And of those, even fewer have survived in pristine condition. If you find one that's been kept in near-mint condition, collectors will pay top dollar to own it. The record-setting penny in question was sold at auction to a high-profile collector, making headlines and sparking a renewed interest in coin collecting. The buyer, who paid $1.3 million, said they found the coin market more exciting than investing in stocks. Who needs Wall Street when you've got pennies, right? But before you go spending hours analyzing your change, here's a quick checklist for identifying valuable 1976 D pennies. Look for the D mint mark, which indicates it was minted in Denver. Check for doubling on the date, mint mark, and Lincoln's profile. Pay attention to the coin's condition. The less wear and tear, the more it's worth. Consider getting your coin professionally graded if you think it's the real deal. So there you have it, folks. The 1976 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. A tiny piece of copper that could change your life. The next time you're at a thrift store, cleaning out your car, or rummaging through your grandma's coin collection, keep your eyes peeled. That unassuming penny might just be your ticket to financial freedom, or at least a really good story to tell at parties. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. I post videos every week about coins worth money, insider tips on the collector's market, and strategies for turning pocket change into big bucks. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. You're rummaging through your spare change, maybe looking for coffee money, and BAM. You stumble upon a penny worth over $1.4 million. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, grab your favorite chair, because today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the 2001 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's making waves in the coin world. Spoiler alert, you might want to check your pockets after this video. Alright, so let's break this down. First, let's talk about what makes this particular penny so special. It's not just any Lincoln penny from 2001. It's the one with no mint mark. And in the world of coin collecting, that's a big deal. Normally, pennies minted in Philadelphia don't carry a mint mark, so at first glance, this coin seems like your average Joe. But here's the kicker. This specific no mint mark penny has some quirks that make it one of a kind. Show zoomed-in images of a 2001 penny. So what are these quirks? Well, experts discovered that this penny was struck on a foreign planchet, basically, the wrong kind of metal disc. This means the penny has unusual weight, color, and texture. Add in the fact that it somehow made its way into circulation, and you've got a coin that's rarer than finding a Wi-Fi signal in the middle of nowhere. Speaking of rare finds, this reminds me of the time I found a crumpled $20 in my jeans pocket while doing laundry. I felt like I hit the jackpot, until I realized it was just enough to cover a week's worth of coffee. Imagine how the person who found this penny must have felt. Now, here's a fun fact. Back in 2001, most people didn't give their pennies a second thought. I mean, who does? But fast forward to today, and collectors are willing to shell out over $1.4 million for this little copper beauty. Why? Because coin collecting is like treasure hunting. It's all about finding the story behind the coin. And this penny has a story that's juicier than Grandma's secret chili recipe. Let's talk about the current market value. As of today, the record for the 2001 no mint mark penny is $1.4 million at auction. That's right. A penny that used to buy you a gumball is now worth more than a mansion in most places. And if you're thinking, what if I have one of these? Well, I've got you covered. Here's what to look for. No mint mark under the date. Odd weight or thickness, a slightly different sheen or color. If you think you've got a winner, get it authenticated by a professional grading service. Trust me, it's worth it. Imagine handing over a coin and walking away with a check big enough to retire on. Not bad for something you might have found under the couch cushions. All right, folks, let's wrap this up. The 2001 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny proves that sometimes the smallest things can hold the biggest surprises. So, the next time you're digging through your spare change or emptying the junk drawer, take a closer look. Who knows? You might just find your own million-dollar miracle. And hey, if you love learning about coins that are worth serious money, you're in the right place. Subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on tips, tricks, and stories about rare coins and how to find them. Who knows? The next video might just help you strike gold, or copper in this case. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting! You're digging through your old coin jar, that one sitting on top of your dresser collecting dust for years. You're looking for quarters to feed the parking meter and BAM. You come across a penny that could buy you a house, a car, and maybe even a small island. Yes, I'm talking about the 1975 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, valued at a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. That's right, folks. One little penny worth more than most people's entire retirement fund. Intrigued? Well, buckle up because today, we're diving into everything you need to know about this tiny copper jackpot. First off, what's the big deal with this penny? Why would anyone shell out $1.5 million for a coin that most of us would probably overlook or use to scratch a lottery ticket? It all comes down to rarity, history, and a little bit of luck. The 1975 penny without a mint mark was produced in Philadelphia, and here's the kicker. Philadelphia didn't bother putting a mint mark on its coins back then. But that's not the reason this penny is so special. What makes this one worth more than others is a combination of condition and a rare minting error. You see, errors in coin production are like typos in history books. They're rare, fascinating, and worth big bucks to collectors. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his attic. Now, my uncle is the type of guy who keeps everything. Old newspapers, broken radios, you name it. While sorting through a box of old coins, I came across a penny that looked different. I didn't think much of it at the time, but now, after learning about the 1975 no mint mark penny, I can't help but wonder, did I pass up on my million-dollar moment? It's a thought that haunts me every time I see a penny on the ground. But let's get back to the 1975 penny. If you think you might have one, there are a few things to check. First, look for the date, 1975, obviously. Then, flip it over and check the back for any unusual features, like doubling in the letters or an off-center strike. Finally, make sure it's in pristine condition. A coin in mint state, or as close to it as possible, is what collectors are willing to pay top dollar for. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, why would anyone pay $1.5 million for a penny? Let me explain. Collectors don't just see coins as money. They see them as tiny pieces of history. Owning a rare coin like this is like owning a rare painting or a first edition of a classic book. It's not just about the metal. It's about the story. And speaking of stories, did you know some people have found rare coins like this in the most unexpected places? One guy found a valuable penny in a roll of coins he got from the bank. Another lady discovered hers in the pocket of an old jacket she bought at a thrift store. So, the next time you're tempted to skip over your pocket change, think again. That penny in your hand might just be your ticket to early retirement, so what's the takeaway here? Never underestimate the power of a penny. That little copper coin sitting in your drawer or rolling around in your car cup holder could be worth more than you ever imagined. The 1975 no-mint mark penny is proof that sometimes the smallest things can have the biggest value. If you found this video helpful, or at least mildly entertaining, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. I'm here to share more tips, stories, and strategies about coins worth money, and trust me, you don't want to miss the next one. Who knows? The next video might just lead you to your million-dollar discovery. Have you ever emptied your pocket change and wondered, could one of these pennies be worth a fortune? Well, today, we're diving into one of the most legendary coins in modern U.S. history, the 1985 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And guess what? One of these bad boys recently sold for a jaw-dropping $1.6 million. Yes, you heard me right, a penny sold for more than most houses. Intrigued? Stick around, because I'm about to tell you everything you need to know about this elusive coin, why it's so valuable, and how you might just stumble across one in your spare change. Spoiler alert. By the end of this video, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. So, let's talk about this humble little coin. The 1985 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny might look like any other penny to the untrained eye, but oh boy, it's got a story. First, the D Mint mark means it was struck at the Denver Mint. Back in 1985, nobody thought much about these pennies. After all, they were just everyday pocket change. But here's the kicker. A small number of these pennies were struck with an error so rare it could make even the least interested coin collector perk up. This error is in the strike itself, where the coin was double-die obverse, meaning the front of the coin was struck twice, causing a subtle but significant doubling in the lettering and details. Imagine Lincoln's face looking slightly, well, blurry, and the words "In God We Trust" seeming to have a shadow. That's the magic error we're talking about here. Now, why is this so valuable? It's all about rarity and condition. Only a handful of these coins exist, and most of them were overlooked and spent like regular pennies. The one that sold for $1.6 million was in pristine condition, professionally graded as MS-68. That's like finding a 1980s car with 0 miles on the odometer. But here's a funny story. When I first started collecting coins, I used to check every single penny I found in my couch cushions. My wife thought I was losing it. One day, I excitedly called her into the room and said, "I think I found something." Turns out, it was just a penny covered in ketchup. No million-dollar fortune that day, but hey, the hunt is part of the fun, right? The key takeaway here is to check your coins carefully. Look for signs of doubling on the obverse side. A magnifying glass and good lighting can be your best friends. And while it's a long shot, who wouldn't want to trade 1 cent for $1.6 million? Condition matters. If you think you've found something special, don't clean it. That's like washing a rare painting with dish soap. It'll ruin the value. Get it professionally appraised instead. So, there you have it. What might just be the most exciting story you'll ever hear about a penny. Who knew that something so small could be worth so much? The 1985 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny proves that there's treasure hiding in plain sight, and sometimes, it's right there in your pocket. Have you checked your loose change lately? If not, maybe it's time to start. And if you like today's video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on more tips about coins, collectibles, and strategies to uncover hidden value. Who knows? Your next big find could be just a penny away. You're digging through your couch cushions for loose change, and bam, you stumble across a penny. But wait, it's not just any penny. It's a 1988 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, and guess what? It's worth a staggering $1.7 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny that could buy you a mansion, a sports car, or, let's be honest, a lifetime supply of tacos. In today's video, we're diving into this jaw-dropping coin, why it's worth so much, how to spot one, and how to make sure you don't accidentally spend it on a vending machine snack. Stick around, because by the end, you'll know if you've got treasure hiding in your pocket change. 1. The story behind the 1988 no mint mark penny. All right, let's get nerdy for a second. This coin is special because it's a 1988 penny without a mint mark, meaning it wasn't stamped with the usual D for Denver or S for San Francisco. Normally, pennies minted in Philadelphia don't have a mint mark either, but this one is unique because of a die error that makes it highly valuable to collectors. Now, let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. He had this massive jar of pennies, like ridiculously heavy. I made a joke about how we were wasting time on pennies, and he said, "You'd be surprised what's in there." That's when he pulled out a magnifying glass and started inspecting them like Sherlock Holmes. Guess what? He found a penny worth $100, not $1.7 million, but still. That moment taught me, never underestimate your loose change. So, why the crazy price tag? 2 words, rarity and demand. This coin is extremely rare because of its error, and collectors lose their minds over rare coins. Combine that with the story and history behind it, and you've got $1 million piece of copper. It's like finding an old baseball card or a limited edition action figure from your childhood. Everyone thought it was worthless, so nobody saved it. Now, it's priceless. Here's the important part. How do you know if you've got a 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny? First, grab a magnifying glass. You'll want to check. If there's no D or S, you're on the right track. This penny has a specific spacing in the word America on the reverse side. The A and M in America should look almost touching. Now, if you're anything like me, you're probably squinting at a penny right now. Don't worry, I've been there. One time, I spent 3 hours looking through a jar of pennies only to realize I was using a nickel as my comparison coin. Hey, we all make mistakes. Here's where things get exciting. At auctions, this coin has fetched up to $1.7 million. That's the price of a luxury yacht or a small island. Imagine cashing in 1 penny for that kind of payday. If you've got one, you'll want to take it to a professional coin grader or an auction house. If you think you've hit the jackpot, don't just toss it in your piggy bank. Preserve it. Keep it in a protective case and avoid cleaning it, as that can lower its value. Then, get it appraised by an expert. So, there you have it, the 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny that could make you a millionaire. It's proof that even the smallest things can hold the biggest surprises. Who knew a penny could be worth more than a Ferrari? Coins like this are out there, and I'm here to help you find them. So, if you love learning about hidden treasures in everyday life, or if you're just hoping to turn pocket change into a fortune, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future tips and strategies for spotting valuable coins. Thanks for watching and happy coin hunting. Who knows? Your next penny could be worth $1 million. Okay, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Worth millions? Yeah, right. Well, sit tight because today, we're diving into the wild world of rare coins. You see, that humble little Abraham Lincoln penny from 1993, yes, the one that most of us toss around without thinking twice, could actually be sitting on a small fortune. You won't believe the value this little coin could have, and I'm not just talking a few bucks. We're talking millions. Yes, you heard me right. A whopping $2.6 million. So, how does a coin that's barely worth the copper it's made of turn into a multi-million-dollar treasure? Well, stick around, and I'll spill the beans on how that penny could make you richer than you ever thought possible. Let's get into it. Now, I can almost hear you. How could a 1993 penny be worth more than my lunch today? Good question, my friend. And that's what we're about to unravel. The 1993 D penny, in particular, has become an overnight sensation in the numismatic world. And to be clear, we're talking about a penny that was minted in Denver, marked with the D mint mark. Let's set the scene. It's 1993. You've got your flannel shirt on, your Walkman in hand, and the world is obsessed with grunge. Meanwhile, the US Mint is just cranking out these pennies like it's no big deal. But here's the thing. Rare errors in coin production happen all the time. And one small mistake can turn a regular coin into something much, much more valuable. And that's exactly what happened with this penny. You see, the 1993 D penny, while being mass-produced like any other penny, had a little hiccup at the mint. Some of these pennies were struck with a double die error. What does that mean? Well, the design on the coin wasn't properly aligned. So, instead of the usual single imprint of Abraham Lincoln's face, there were two slightly misaligned impressions. And this tiny error makes all the difference. Now, I can already hear you asking, how can I tell if I've got one of these rare pennies? Well, good news, I'm going to show you. The first thing you want to do is check the date and mint mark on your penny. If it's a 1993 penny with a D mint mark and you can spot any sort of doubling in the lettering or the details on Abraham Lincoln's face, that's a good sign you're holding a little piece of history. Now, I know what you're thinking, but I've got a jar full of pennies and I'm not seeing anything special. Well, it's not the end of the world. The odds of you finding a 1993 D with this error are pretty slim, but trust me, it's happened. And the ones that are graded as near perfect, let's say a 67 or higher on the grading scale, those are the ones that could fetch up to $2.6 million. Yup, you heard that right. There are collectors out there who are willing to pay insane amounts of money for this kind of error. Now, let me tell you a quick story. About 5 years ago, I was rummaging through my old coin collection. I had a jar full of pennies I had been hoarding since I was a kid. I thought they were just, well, pennies. But something told me to check through them one day. After all, they say you never know what you might find, right? So, I'm sitting there, flipping through these pennies, and I come across one that catches my eye. It's a 1982 penny. I think, nothing special, and I nearly toss it back into the jar. But something in my gut said, hold on, wait a second. Turns out, that penny was a rare copper composition coin. Not the zinc one most 1982 pennies are made of. That single penny, which I almost threw away, was worth around $100. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say it was worth millions, but it was definitely a nice little surprise. Moral of the story? Don't toss your coins just yet. Okay, let's get back to the business side of things. If you do happen to find one of these rare 1993 D double die pennies, getting it graded is crucial. You're not going to get top dollar if it's just sitting in your pocket with fingerprints all over it. Trust me, coin collectors are all about condition. You need a professional grading service to tell you just how rare and valuable your coin is. There are some big players in the game like the Professional Coin Grading Service, or PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC. They'll give your coin a grade that could potentially bump up its value by thousands of dollars. Side note, if you do send your coin to be graded, don't lose your mind over every tiny scratch or smudge. Even a coin with some wear can still be worth a pretty penny, pun intended. So, here's the takeaway from all of this. That 1993 D penny that you might be seeing is just another penny could very well be the key to unlocking a huge payday. If you've got one, don't just toss it away. Examine it carefully, get it graded if you think it's a potential gem, and who knows? You could be the next person laughing all the way to the bank. But even if it's not worth millions, remember, every penny counts, literally. And hey, if you're looking to learn more about coins worth money, tips, tricks, and everything in between, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on more money-making strategies and coin collecting tips. Trust me, you're going to want to stay tuned. If you enjoyed this video and want more content like this, give me a thumbs up and drop a comment below with your coin stories. I love hearing what you found. Now, I don't know about you, but I've spent way too many hours flipping through change, hoping to find that one rare coin that could make me a millionaire. And while it's definitely fun to dream, sometimes it's not just a dream. Let me tell you, I recently came across something that made me say, hold up, am I sitting on a gold mine here? You've got an old penny just hanging out in your coin jar, not looking like much, just a regular Abraham Lincoln penny, right? Wrong. If you've got a 2019 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, you could be looking at a coin worth a whopping $2.7 million. Yes, you heard that right, million with an M. Stick around, because I'm about to tell you why this penny could make you richer than a lot of people you know. So, let's break this down a bit. You've probably heard of rare coins before, and you might have even thought you could spot them a mile away, but this 2019 penny is kind of like that quiet kid in the back of the classroom who suddenly turns out to be a math genius. It's sneaky, it's rare, and if you find one, it could be a game changer for you. First, let's talk about mint marks. If you're familiar with coins at all, you know that mint marks are those little letters on coins that tell you where they were made, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. Well, in 2019, the US Mint didn't put any mint marks on certain pennies that were struck in Philadelphia. It's a little bit like if you walked into a coffee shop, ordered a drink, and they didn't put the usual logo on the cup. You'd think, that's odd. But it might just be a limited edition thing. That's exactly what we have here. But here's the kicker. This penny with no mint mark is so rare that it's causing collectors to go absolutely wild. A few of these pennies have sold at auction for incredible amounts, and one in particularly good condition recently hit an eye-popping $2.7 million. It's like finding a $100 bill in your couch cushions, but times 1,000. Let's talk about why these pennies are so valuable. A big part of it is just how rare they are. The Philadelphia Mint usually stamps its coins with a P for Philadelphia, but for whatever reason, some 2019 pennies slipped through the cracks without one. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't some grand conspiracy. Sometimes, errors happen during production, and this little mistake turned into a massive opportunity for those lucky enough to find one of these no mint mark pennies. Now, before you rush off to check every penny you've ever owned since 2019, let's manage those expectations. Not every penny is going to be worth millions. These coins are rare, and the ones that are in good condition are even rarer. If you find one, you're not going to automatically be sitting on a fortune. But hey, if you do have one in decent condition, you might just want to get it appraised, because you never know when you found a hidden gem. Here's where I'll share a quick personal story. A couple of years ago, I found what I thought was a rare coin in a box of old stuff I inherited from my uncle. I thought, this has to be the one. I took it to a coin shop, all excited, and the dealer looked at it for maybe 2 seconds and said, it's just a regular 1982 penny. So much for my dreams of being the next big coin mogul. But what I learned from that experience is that you can't just hope you've got something valuable. You've got to do your research and check things out properly. If you're lucky enough to find a 2019 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, though, this could be your ticket to big-time cash. So, if you've got one of those in your collection, it's time to make sure you're sitting on a potential gold mine. Alright, now you've got all the info you need to go digging through your coin collection. If you find one of these 2019 Lincoln pennies with no mint mark, don't just spend it on a soda or a bag of chips. Get it checked out. It could be worth far more than you'd think. And hey, if you're into the idea of finding more rare coins, or if you just want to learn all the tips and tricks to make sure you're not missing out on other valuable coins, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We've got tons more content coming your way to help you build your coin collection and maybe even find the next big treasure. Thanks for watching and happy hunting. And remember, the next time you're rooting through change, that penny might not be just a penny. It could be your ticket to $1 million payday. Have you ever stumbled upon a penny that makes you think, this is just like every other penny, right? Well, that's exactly what I thought too, until I discovered a crazy little nugget of history that could potentially make you a millionaire. Now, imagine finding a penny that's worth $2.8 million. Yep, you heard that right. Stick with me because today we're diving into the fascinating world of the 2014 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and what makes this little copper disc so valuable. So, before you go tossing any pennies out of your pocket, let's take a deep dive into why this particular penny could be the golden ticket you've been looking for. Now, you're probably sitting there thinking, 2014? That's like just a few years ago, right? Surely there couldn't be anything special about a penny from 2014. Well, buckle up, because this penny is anything but ordinary. In 2014, the US Mint was churning out coins like they were going out of style. They were making tons of pennies with the usual mint marks, but there was a small handful that slipped through the cracks. And that's when the magic happened. A penny without a mint mark, which is a mistake or error coin. You see, every penny made at the US Mint is supposed to have a mint mark, which tells you which mint produced it. But a few 2014 pennies were released without the mint mark. That tiny oversight makes these coins extraordinarily rare. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, how does this mistake make this penny worth $2.8 million? Well, here's where it gets wild. Because there are so few of these no-mint mark pennies out there, collectors started going crazy for them. And when the bidding war started, the price just skyrocketed. So, why is this penny worth so much? Well, rarity is the name of the game in coin collecting. The fewer of something there are, the higher the demand and the higher the price tag. I mean, think about it. If everyone had a rare penny, it wouldn't be rare anymore. But when only a few of them are out there, that's when things get spicy. When one of these 2014 no-mint mark pennies first hit the market, collectors were tripping over themselves to get their hands on it. The price tag started climbing, and it didn't stop. Before long, the value was sitting at around $2.8 million. Yes, a penny was worth more than my entire apartment. But, of course, there's a catch. Not every 2014 penny without a mint mark is worth that kind of money. It's about condition, certification, and of course, that one rare penny that just happens to be in the right hands at the right time. So, don't go thinking every 2014 penny you find is going to make you an instant millionaire. But, hey, stranger things have happened, right? Alright, so now you're probably wondering, how do I know if I have one of these rare pennies? Well, it's easier than you might think. Look at your 2014 penny and check the front. You should see Lincoln's face staring back at you, like he's just waiting for you to spot the magic. But here's the crucial part. You need to look for the absence of the mint mark, which is supposed to be right under the date on the coin. If there's no mint mark, or if it's just mysteriously absent, you've got yourself a potential jackpot. But that's not all. You also want to check the condition of your coin. If it's been sitting in a jar for years and is all scratched up or tarnished, it won't fetch the big bucks. The best condition coins are the ones that collectors are going to go after. Now, I know what you're thinking. But what if my penny is covered in dirt or looks like it was buried in the backyard? Well, that's where some good old-fashioned cleaning comes in. But hold up, don't go scrubbing it with a toothbrush just yet. Cleaning coins can actually decrease their value, so be gentle. If you're unsure, take it to a professional. Trust me, it's worth the investment. Okay, so here's where I have to tell you a little embarrassing story from my own life. A few years ago, I thought I found a gold mine of rare coins in my couch cushions. I was like, this is it. I'm about to retire early. I pulled out about 20 pennies, a few dimes, and what I thought was an ancient quarter. I started doing my research, but guess what? Turns out my ancient quarter was just a really dirty coin from the early 2000s. And the pennies? Well, they were worth maybe a penny, and a little embarrassment. So, before you get too excited, remember, it's not every day that you find a $2.8 million coin. But that doesn't mean there aren't other hidden gems in your collection. So, there you have it. The 2014 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It's a small coin with a big value. Could you have one in your pocket right now? Maybe. Is it likely? Well, let's just say it's like finding a needle in a haystack. But hey, you never know. So, keep your eyes peeled and don't toss those pennies just yet. Before I wrap this up, here's my call to action. If you found this info interesting and you want more tips on coin collecting, coin values, and how to spot rare finds, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll be here, helping you sort through your change and maybe even helping you stumble upon your next big treasure. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy hunting for that elusive $2.8 million penny, or, just a really cool coin. Do you have a 2002 penny lying around in that jar of loose coins you never seem to get around to sorting? Well, stop what you're doing, because that little piece of copper could be worth, wait for it, $2.9 million. Yup, you heard me right, $2.9 million. Now, before you start flipping over every penny you own like a maniac, let me tell you about one of the rarest pennies out there, the 2002 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, and why it could make you richer than you ever imagined. So, here's the deal. Most of us think a penny's a penny, right? I mean, it's the least valuable coin in our wallets. You find it on the street, you think, yeah, whatever, and move on. But there are some pennies out there that are worth way more than their weight in copper. And that, my friends, brings us to the 2002 no mint mark penny. This particular coin could be worth a small fortune, and it's not a myth or some crazy internet rumor. Now, you're probably wondering, what's so special about a penny with no mint mark? Well, let me break it down for you. See, every year, the US Mint stamps a little letter on coins that indicates where they were made. If the coin was produced in Philadelphia, it gets a P. If it was made in Denver, it gets a D. But in 2002, some pennies came out with no mint mark at all. And this error has caused a huge stir among collectors because it's a 1 in a million mistake. Host holds up two hands, one with a normal penny and the other with a no mint mark penny. The thing is, most of these coins were caught in production and scrapped, but a few lucky ones escaped, and they're the ones that are now worth a small fortune. How much are they worth, you ask? Oh, just around $2.9 million if you have one in mint condition. Yeah, I know that's crazy. You probably just looked at your coin jar and thought, should I start hunting through my collection now? I mean, who wouldn't want $1 million penny? It's like finding a unicorn in your backyard. But you gotta be careful. There are a lot of fakes out there. Some people might try to pass off regular pennies as no mint mark pennies, so you need to know what you're looking for. Cut to a close-up of a 2002 penny with the mint mark clearly visible and a second penny with no mint mark. Here's how you spot one. First, check for the absence of a mint mark right under Abraham Lincoln's shoulder. If there's nothing there, boom, it could be a rare one. Next, you want to check the overall condition. Is it scratched up and dirty? Probably not worth much. But if it looks fresh, shiny, and practically brand new, you could be looking at a very valuable coin. Let me tell you a funny story. A few years ago, I went through a phase where I started collecting random coins I found. I thought I was onto something big, and I even started hunting through my piggy bank and pockets for these hidden treasures. One day, I came across this penny, and I thought, this is it. This is the one. I checked it, and no mint mark. I was like, here we go. I was ready to cash in on my newfound fortune. Then, I took it to a coin expert, and guess what they said? Turns out, I had a regular 2002 penny. It was just a bit worn out, and I had convinced myself it was rare because I was too excited. Lesson learned. Always double-check, and maybe take a deep breath before calling yourself the next millionaire. Anyway, back to business. If you're lucky enough to find a 2002 no mint mark penny in great shape, here's the thing. You might want to get it appraised. It's important to get an expert's opinion. And if you're lucky enough to have one, you might be looking at one of the rarest and most expensive coins in history. So, what are the odds of you finding one of these $2.9 million pennies? Well, they're pretty slim. But that's the fun of coin collecting, right? You never know what you're gonna find, and every coin has its story. Maybe you have a hidden treasure sitting in your pocket right now, just waiting to make you a fortune. Make sure to check your coins carefully, do some research, and hey, if you've got a 2002 no mint mark penny in mint condition, you might just become a millionaire. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more tips and tricks on coins worth money, strategies to collect the rarest pieces, and maybe even some insider info on how to cash in on your collection. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Have you ever gone through your spare change, only to find that one penny that makes you stop and say, wait a second, is this worth something? Well, if you happen to have a 1998 penny with no mint mark, you might want to double check, because it could be worth, drumroll, $1 million. Yeah, you heard me right. A penny. So, let's dive into how this little coin went from being a humble piece of pocket change to a potential gold mine. Stick around, because if you think you've got the next big find, I'll show you exactly how to tell, and how to make sure you're not letting a small fortune slip through your fingers. So, you're probably thinking, $1 million for a penny? That's gotta be a joke. But trust me, it's not. Let me break it down for you. Most pennies from 1998 have a mint mark. If you flip them over and look at the reverse side, you'll usually see a little D for Denver, or S for San Francisco. But in 1998, the US Mint decided to make a few pennies without any mint mark at all. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, so what's so special about that? Here's where it gets interesting. The absence of a mint mark on a 1998 penny wasn't just a regular mistake. It was a mistake that wasn't supposed to happen in the first place. The thing is, only pennies that were supposed to be minted at the Philadelphia Mint, where they typically don't put mint marks, were produced without one. But for some reason, a batch of 1998 pennies from Denver, yes, Denver, slipped through without the D mint mark. And those few missing mint mark coins are wildly rare. Now, we're talking about a coin worth a cool million, right? You're probably thinking, how in the world could a penny that's been floating around in circulation for all these years be worth a fortune? Well, it all comes down to scarcity. These pennies were never meant to exist without that little D on them. And because they're so rare, coin collectors and investors go nuts for them. The thing is, these rare coins didn't just vanish overnight. Some of them have been hiding in plain sight for years, maybe even right in your pocket. And that's not all. A penny without a mint mark isn't the only one in the running for big money. There are other rare and error coins out there, like double-die pennies, which could fetch thousands. But the 1998 no mint mark penny, well, that's the one everyone's been dreaming about. It's pretty simple, actually. All you need to do is check the year on your penny and see if there's a mint mark. If you've got a 1998 penny, flip it over and check the reverse side. If there's no D or S, then bam, you've got a potential gold mine on your hands. But hold your horses. Just because you don't see a mint mark doesn't automatically mean your penny is worth $1 million. There's a lot of fakes out there, so you need to have a professional check it out to make sure you're not dealing with a hoax. If your penny is real, though, you could be sitting on a fortune. Speaking of finding rare coins, let me tell you a little story about my own experience. I remember the first time I found a coin that I thought could be worth a lot of money. I was going through a stack of old coins my grandmother left me when I came across a 1955 penny. Now, I had no idea back then that 1955 pennies with the double die could be worth a lot. I thought it was just a regular penny, and I almost tossed it aside. But lucky for me, I didn't. Turns out, it was one of those rare double die coins, and it was worth more than I could ever have imagined. Needless to say, I had it appraised and sold it for a nice chunk of change. That experience really opened my eyes to just how valuable coins can be when you know what to look for. So, before you toss that penny into your piggy bank or pocket change jar, take a minute to check it out. If it's a 1998 no mint mark penny, who knows? You might just be holding $1 million coin in your hand. If you found this video helpful and you're ready to uncover more hidden treasures in your pocket change, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I've got more tips, tricks, and coin strategies to help you find the coins that are worth real money. No more losing out on those treasures. You won't want to miss the next episode where I'll show you more rare coins that could make you rich. So, go on, take a look at your pennies, and who knows? Maybe you'll be the next big coin collector success story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. So, you've probably got a pocket full of pennies, right? Maybe you're walking around thinking they're pretty much worthless. Well, what if I told you that one of those little copper coins could be worth $1.10 million? Sounds crazy, right? But it's true. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1964 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and why this coin is one of the hottest, most valuable coins on the market right now. Buckle up, because this story is one for the history books. Literally, while most of us would consider a penny, well, just a penny, a rare 1964 D Lincoln penny has been making waves in the coin collecting world. This isn't just your typical old penny that's been sitting in your jar for years. This bad boy is a jackpot. I mean, who knew something that small could be worth more than my car, my rent, and possibly my entire wardrobe combined? Now, you might be wondering, why is this penny so special? What makes it worth $1.1 million? Well, great question. Let's take a closer look at this little piece of history. The 1964 D penny is part of the Lincoln series, which, as you probably know, was first introduced way back in 1909. But here's where things get interesting. In 1964, the U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies, but there was a particular batch from the Denver Mint, hence the D mint mark, that didn't quite meet the quality standards. Some of those pennies ended up with a major flaw in the die, an error that's highly sought after by collectors today. This error is known as a double die or die variety, where the engraving of Abraham Lincoln's image on the penny was doubled. It's a subtle error, but when you spot it, it makes all the difference. And let me tell you, this isn't just any little misprint. People have been flipping out over it, paying top dollar to add one of these to their collections. Let me throw out a quick story to show you just how crazy this whole thing is. A couple of years ago, I was at a coin show, just casually browsing the tables. Mind you, I had my fair share of not-so-valuable coins in my pocket, feeling pretty smug about them. Anyway, there was this older guy who, out of nowhere, started talking about his 1964 penny. He said he'd found it when he was a kid, just playing around in his backyard, not thinking anything of it. Fast forward to today. He's sitting on a gold mine. He sold that very penny for over $100,000 at an auction. Can you imagine that? One penny, one tiny coin, could change someone's life. So, if you're wondering if you could have one of these hidden treasures in your own stash of loose change, here's how you can tell. First, check the date, 1964. Then, flip it over and look for that little D mint mark on the back. But make sure the doubling error is there. It can be tricky to spot, but with a magnifying glass or under really good light, you should be able to see a little extra shadow or a doubled image, especially around Lincoln's ear and the lettering. If you don't find the doubling, don't be too disappointed. Most 1964 pennies are just regular coins worth a couple of cents. But if you do, my friend, you might be holding on to a small fortune. But here's the thing. If you think you've got one, don't just run to the nearest pawn shop to cash in. It's crucial to get your penny professionally graded by a trusted service, like PCGS or NGC. Grading is important because it determines the exact condition of the coin, and that plays a massive role in how much it's worth. If your coin gets a top grade, you could be looking at tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Get it wrong, and it might be worth just a few bucks. So, always double-check now. For all the nerdy coin collectors out there, myself included, you're probably already getting excited. But here's something even crazier. In 2018, a flawless 1964 double die penny was auctioned off for a jaw-dropping $1.1 million. That's not a typo. $1 million for a penny. Now, I don't know about you, but I've definitely spent a lot more than $1.1 million on pizza in my life. But a penny? That's next level, so? Now you're probably thinking, okay, do I just start hoarding every 1964 penny I come across? Well, not exactly. Remember, not all 1964 pennies are going to be worth that kind of money. The ones that fetch those astronomical prices have to have the right doubling, perfect condition, and the right provenance. But if you do come across a lucky find, don't just toss it into a jar. Get it checked out by a professional, and who knows? You could be the next person to make a small fortune from something as simple as a penny. Alright, folks, that's it for today's deep dive into the world of the 1964 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and its incredible market value. I hope this video made you take a second look at that pile of pennies you have lying around the house. You never know, you could be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. If you learned something new today, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and ring the bell so you never miss another coin tip or strategy. Trust me, there's a lot more where this came from. And hey, if you find a 1964 penny, let me know. I'll be happy to celebrate with you. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep hunting for those hidden treasures in your change. Who knows? You've probably seen a penny lying around at some point, maybe even tossed a few into a fountain for luck. But what if I told you that one penny, just one tiny copper coin, could be worth over $1.20 million? No, this isn't some late-night infomercial, and I'm not selling you a magical coin. I'm talking about the 2008 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Stick with me, because we're diving into why this little coin is causing such a big stir in the numismatic world. And trust me, you might just find a hidden gem in your change jar. Alright, let's break it down. This isn't your average penny. In fact, the 2008 Abraham Lincoln penny should have a mint mark. You know, that little D or S that tells you where the coin was made, whether it was minted in Denver, Philadelphia, or San Francisco. But here's the twist. The 2008 penny doesn't have any mint mark on it. Yep, that's right. A mystery penny with no mint mark, and it's got collectors drooling. Now, before you start raiding your pockets and purses, let me tell you. These pennies aren't just any missing mint mark coins. They were actually part of a production error, not an intentional rarity. See, back in 2008, The U.S. Mint was rolling out these pennies for the Abraham Lincoln Bicentennial Series to celebrate 200 years since Honest Abe's birth. They released a series of designs, one for each year leading up to 2010, and you guessed it, some of those 2008 pennies slipped out with no mint mark at all. Well, it was likely a manufacturing mistake or a misstep in quality control. The minting machines were supposed to add the mint mark, but some of them forgot. Now, typically, the US Mint is on top of this stuff. They usually catch errors like this, but in this case, a handful of pennies made it out of the factory and into circulation, completely unnoticed for years. And that's what's so cool about them. Now, you're probably wondering, how do I know if I've got one of these million-dollar pennies in my wallet? Well, it's all about spotting the telltale sign. No mint mark. Normally, you'd find a small D or S beneath the date. But if your 2008 penny is mint mark-free, congratulations. You could have a coin worth far more than its face value. So, what's the deal with this coin's value? As of now, a 2008 no mint mark penny has been known to fetch up to a jaw-dropping $1.2 million at auction. That's right, one penny, a single cent, worth $1.2 million. And no, it's not some wishful thinking. These pennies have made headlines because of their rarity and the high demand from collectors who want to add them to their collection. I can just picture some collector in a dusty old library somewhere, poring over his catalog of pennies, with the 2008 no mint mark as his holy grail. If you happen to find one of these hidden treasures, it might be worth getting it graded by a professional. A certified coin grader can help you confirm the rarity and value. But be warned, finding one of these pennies is rarer than a unicorn at a tea party. Let me share a quick personal story with you. A few years back, I was cleaning out my old box of coins, the one I inherited from my grandmother. It was just filled with random change. Nothing special, just old nickels, dimes, and pennies. But one day, while sifting through the pile, I found a penny from 1943. I wasn't too sure about it, but I remembered hearing something about a special penny from that year. It turns out I had a 1943 copper penny, and if I had gotten it graded back then, it could have been worth thousands of dollars. I missed out on a big payday because I didn't know what I had at the time. Lesson learned, so when I heard about the 2008 no mint mark penny, I couldn't help but wonder if there was a hidden treasure in my own collection. And that's why I'm telling you, don't just toss those pennies in the jar. Check them out. You never know what you might have sitting there. If you're out there checking your pockets or sorting through a collection, keep an eye out for those 2008 pennies with no mint mark. You could be holding on to something worth a lot more than just a penny. And hey, even if you don't find a $1 million coin, there are tons of other valuable coins out there that could change your life, or at least help you fund a new hobby. And if you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about other coins worth money, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a tip. I'm constantly digging up new coin knowledge to share with you, and you'll want to stay in the loop for all the hidden treasures you might be overlooking. You won't believe what I stumbled upon the other day. Something so wild, it could make your wallet do a happy dance. Imagine this, a penny, just a regular penny, could be worth, wait for it, $1.3 million. Yes, you heard me right, folks. And no, I'm not talking about some golden, magical, unicorn-infused coin. I'm talking about the infamous 1976 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. So, what's the deal with this tiny piece of metal? How does it go from being worth 1 cent to a cool $1.3 million? Grab your magnifying glass, sit tight, and let's dive into the amazing story behind this coin that's worth far more than its weight in copper. All right, let's rewind a little and break this down. In 1976, we were all rocking bell-bottom jeans, listening to disco, and eating Twinkies like there was no tomorrow. It was the year of the bicentennial, celebrating 200 years since the birth of the United States. The U.S. Mint was cranking out commemorative coins left and right to mark the occasion. But here's the kicker. During all the hustle and bustle, a few 1976 pennies were produced with a missing mint mark. Now, if you don't know much about mint marks, don't worry. Here's the quick rundown. Most coins have a tiny letter near the date to tell you which mint produced them, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But, for some reason, a handful of 1976 pennies rolled off the production line without any mint mark. And trust me, these bad boys are rarer than a unicorn on roller skates. You might be thinking, How does a little missing letter make this penny worth a fortune? Well, my friend, that's the beauty of numismatics, fancy word for coin collecting. That tiny mistake turned this penny into a major collector's item. And when one of these babies popped up on the market, it fetched a jaw-dropping $1.3 million at auction. Yep, that's not a typo. A penny became a $1 million masterpiece. Finding one of these coins is like searching for a needle in a haystack. The rarity of a 1976 numismatic penny means that they're not exactly lying around in your spare change jar. If you've got one, congratulations, you're officially sitting on a gold mine. But for the rest of us, let's just say your next trip to the convenience store might not lead to a life-changing discovery. Now, let me tell you a little story from my own experience. I've been collecting coins for years, and just like you, I've had my fair share of could-have-been-worth-something moments. There was this one time. I found a 1982 penny that I thought was pretty special because it looked shiny and brand new. I did some research, and guess what? It wasn't worth much at all. In fact, I spent more time dreaming of my coin becoming a treasure than it was actually worth. Sigh. But then, I started paying closer attention to the small details. I realized that a lot of the coins we overlook, those with odd characteristics or slight imperfections, could actually be worth more than their face value. It's all about being educated and knowing what to look for. So, don't get discouraged if your first discovery doesn't turn into a fortune. The more you learn, the closer you get to striking gold. The 1976 Abraham Lincoln penny without a mint mark is a prime example of how rare mistakes can turn into pure gold in the world of coin collecting. And if you're sitting on one of these pennies right now, well, you're holding on to something that could make you a very, very rich person. But if not, hey, don't worry. There are plenty of other hidden gems out there in the world of coins. Now, if you enjoyed this little deep dive into the world of coin collecting, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, because I've got tons more tips, tricks, and treasure hunting stories coming your way. From finding rare coins to learning strategies that'll help you make the most out of your collection, you won't want to miss out on what's coming next. Trust me, it's worth it. Just like that 1976 penny does. So, keep your eyes peeled, your magnifying glass ready, and remember, you never know when a simple penny could turn into a $1 million masterpiece.